Okay, now that because when I was looking at it, akapila kune citizens akataura kuti izvo ngatiite stay away. Handei kudemonstration handitika, people decided stay away, and then he came out and then he said, good, let us stay away. People decided to go to work, and in as far as he is concerned, I want to believe that call for stay away is still there because he has not called it out. I mean, he has not called it off. That call is still there. He appealed to the junior soldiers. If you remember, when he was talking about Guti Ningi, General Ningi, Bagati Opa, Arubi 35,000 a month. General Ningarbi 25,000. General Ningarbi 25,000. General Ningarbi 10,000. We are 10,000. He was trying, to appeal to the best Yema soldiers, my junior soldiers, so that they get angry. But this also never that will be wise and each that will be one in my barak, say, so that they can make some action. And then Ababa is now going to my generals Achoman. Kuti mimi ndimakatiunzirai masoro munangagwa vamugabe vanga vaditi izvo iwo vanga vataura kuti izvo iwo chiwenga iwewe ninge ndada kusiyira iwewe because uyu ndinomuziya uyu inondira musimo uyu mukadzimana vangumisa uyu hapana nenge kwamunoenda uyu saka but mimi ndimakati saka he is now appealing to these guys. I think he has played every move that which to me has played every move. Saka as it stands right now in mimi munozoona kuti when it comes next, what is it that you expect?
We already failed him. Even General Chiwenga asked kuti ari kumbotora action kana ka1, which means we already failed him. Uyu mukoma Geza atora as it is kuti vanhu muri kubirwa, muri kuita sei, muri kuwa mari yamuri kuwa ishoma, hapana ari kuzviteerera zvese, which means the whole nation of Zimbabwe, my citizens emaZimbabwe tese tiri macowards, tese tisingadi kunyeperana zvachose.
Right. Yeah, pakaipa. Aiwa, ndinotenda mukoma. Thank you very much. Ameno kana mune last words enyu ataura zvenyu.
Haya, pakashata. Chandikuda kuti titaona kuti vechidiki isusu ndisi tingakwanisa kutoti tisumuke, tikasasimuka isa pana chinobuda. Tinokuramba tangotsikirirwa until apa ndakatoona kuti movement ye2030 year. Ndaona ichiendeka very smoothly. Zvakanaka smooth iri kutobuda zvakanaka. Because hatina action, hatina zvatinoita, hatisupport vanhu vari kunenge vachida kusumuka vaya.
Right. If you were to appeal, if you were to appeal to young people, right now, what would you say to them?
Ngatisimuke tese tikwanise kubvisa zvikushunguza. Most of the youth vari kunze kwenyika, vamwe vari kuna na South Africa, vamwe vari vachitiza the same nhangira yatiri kuona. Zvese tichingomerwa nezvinhu pasina kana ari kunhanikira, ari kusimudza mayouth aise achingoramba achingoti tinourawa toita se, ende for sure unourawa, ende for sure ukada kusumudza musoro Zimbabwe unosungwa, unourawa. Saka zvacho zvese zvinotorwadza. Zvinorwadza.
Ayo, thank you very much mukoma wangu ndinotenda. Thank you very much. Mwana weZimbabwe, how are you doing? Can I come to you now?
Yes, Uncle Geza, how are you?
I'm good. Please, take the mic. Can you give us? I see you've got Geza on your profile, right there. When I started, this conversation, I was like, the man has done everything, that needs to be done. What do you think is missing? What do you think needs to happen next, maybe to ignite this, to achieve an outcome? Yeah, true fungira kuti izo ndo outcome inofana kubuda.
First of all, Uncle Geza, I respect murumo zvakanyanya chaizvo. Ne role yaari kuplaya. kuti maybe tingawane freedom muZimbabwe. I'm gonna start from the very beginning. Paakashedzera stay away, and not stay away as such. That strike, yakakufungisa vanhu iyai. He wanted to try something, and by so doing, a lot of people, dai murodhi makapinda vanhu vakawanda. Tine majunior soldiers vaipinda as well murodhi mamu vachibheka ma-citizens. Police chaiyo yaibheka ma-citizens. If you look at the number of police yakadeployiwa that day, vanga vasina kumbonyanyowanda sereke zvekuti taiwina ipapo, right? But since akazoona kuti no vanhu ava vashoma vapinda parodhi and vasungwa, then akabashedzera, okay, let's stay at home. Now akacalculate akaona kuti okay, look, vanhu vari kutya because anoziva unhu vanhu vanoziva unhu hwegovernment iripo. So okay, stay at home. But nobody tried to listen to him, kana kuti message haina kusvika kune vanhu zvakanyanya. And so now panga pane what we call this social media, it's good, it's also bad. The more yaari kuenda pa social media achitaura mudhara wedu iko, I think the more iri kuonekwa weakness as well. Then avarume avari kubva vatora action. So situation inorwadza yekuti hana vamwe vanhu vati kurei, like ma-generals ari kumbeka. Even General Sanyatwa is the only one person anenge aimubheka here. But pakangotanga kungotaurika about General Sanyatwa achibuditswa mapictures ake, that window period ndo pakabhabviswa 2 minutes akabhabviswa anditi muone. So everything zviri kubva musocial media. So Uncle Geza, I don't know, we are back to square one, but we are just waiting for him, for the signal. We're still waiting for the signal, and the signal there's something that is going to trigger the real change could engage with. That's my submission, Uncle Geza.
Thank you very much, Mkoma. And thank you very much, for that. Again, kuna Samutswa, Sanyamutswa, how you doing? Welcome to the space. Sanyamutswa muripo rap. Right, okay. Regaindende kuna John Babishi. John, how are you? John Babishi? Komende biko na ask madoko tsirere na team.
Vanhu voku Australia vangakotsira nguvai zvaizvo.
Avere kuti vari kuita sei? Right, ngoma naijeo zviri sei?
Right.
How you doing?
Yeah.
That mu right here. How are you doing? Nigel, open up your mic, please. Oh dear. Right, Bento.
Hapana zvangu zvizhinji zvandotaura, but vanhu vanohopana Geza ungoita gara ndichauya kana kugarira guyo sembra.
About Bento, can I ask you, something? If you look at, I know Mundizo, you said with Geza when he came in, he was looking out for number one, which is his individual, interests, etc. And then we witnessed how this thing, progressed. And and also the response that was given by the government, which pointed to that, there was really something, that spooked them. Because if Geza was was nothing, I don't think, they would have acted in the way that, they acted, bringing out, water cannons, and everything. I know you might say, but, for security, they need to protect, etc. But he came out as a force to reckon with. And he forced the ZANU-PF, especially ZANU-PF, because we saw the likes of Daniel Garwe and others going out there denouncing, calling him names, etc. Mimi, when you are looking at that, let me just say, Gudizo, you are a neutral person. What is it that you could have done, differently to achieve what you needed, to achieve? I know what is going to be very difficult for you to, speak to that, but just give me your thought pertaining, to that, because I know where you stand.
You see, like me, I will stand with my first accession with the Geza was for himself. So what he should have done was to go through proper channels and get these issues addressed. But because his interview aroused a lot of interest, especially from the opposition, and Geza's ego was inflamed, and there were people who stampeded to make use of him. Then he lost his marbles, he lost his course along the way. He was off track. Sanga was never his plan. That's why it failed. When you hijack a plan which is not yours, in most cases you fail. This is the reason why he failed. He remained on the path Angari. Probably was going to succeed to get what he wanted. And the government was very, heavy-handed. Yes, because any whiff, if you are an experienced liberation movement who fought a bitter war against the one of the best armies in the world, any whiff you need to come in and nip it in the bud. You can't say moto in my paper, because you never know. That's how things start. Kamoto gamberevere kanopisa matanda, but kamoto ganga sirimente kupisa matanda, but kanogobera kupesira kapisa matanda. Saka ZANU-PF, we are alert. We've got an alert president who's been in the trenches for a very long time, especially when it comes to intelligence, and what was happening during the war. So we in ZANU-PF, we are alert. We don't let things grow. We don't hip hop, and this is otherwise zikaregererwa nanhasi vanhu vachingoita run around vachingochesana. So that's how we deal with things, at this level as experienced fighters. I don't know who answer here.
Right. Mapindura mgomo wangu. But anyway, thank you very much. I do appreciate. Right. One more time. Sanya Mutswa Muripo Erap. John Baptiste Babish, are you there?
Diripo, say, Uncle Jet.
Abana say Malevo.
Arbo Sterek, Samarika.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly what's that.
But what's going to go?
Aiwa, unoziva inini ndikuwadzira kuti hatina opposition munyika medu, saka unoziva ndiri kurwadziwa stere kuti tiri kushupika tiri kunyatsoona zviri kuitika, ende hapana kana kwaunganyatsoona kuti pane kwatiri kuenda sevanhu veZimbabwe. Unoziva, I was listening to the story ya Lindi weZulu, and previously ndakamboteerera zvangu pane imwe yakambobuditswa anonzi Bekisele wanga ari nigirigini leader anga ari minister of police South Africa. Saka, they were really narrating their life stories vari vapana majoinira vakazoita ANC nekuzopinda kwavakazoenda nekuenda kutraining kuzova varwi vehondo vemukondo wesizwe. Unozwa fanike nyaya yanindi weZulu kanotaura kuti kari kuSwaziland pavakaenda iye paakaenda wega anoti nyaya iri kunetsa iye varungu kuSouth Africa yatinetsa. Then she volunteered anga atoita course, she did a course yezvanana nigirigini asatata journalism. Then ndokubva aenda kuMozambique wega kuti toda kutonorwisana nevanhu ava tikuda kutovati tivabvise nekuti nyika yedu haina kumira mushe. Do you know they went through training vari kuMozambique ndokuzoenda kuAngola akabva azobvapo and then he went to Russia. She spent about 6 years ari ikoko. Mazopedza training akadzokera futi kuMozambique ikoko kuti ndonopinda futi mwetraining. Vakazoti South Africa payakazotanga kuita manegotiations vachida kuedza kuti vaite government yakanga iri yekunzwisisana. They were so angry vana ivavo kuti no takada kutorwisana nevarungu. Ndikatarisa generation iyoyo nezvatiriwo tichicompare isusu vapana vedu vekuZimbabwe kuti hatina kana drive kana desire izvo tikataza vapana vari kurohwa nemutoriro nemaguka kuZimbabwe wende pasina kana anotombokutendenga nevamwe vacho vanenge vachingotaura vachisapota zvisina kana nemusoro wese kuti surely chii chakanyatsoitika matiri so maZimbabwe tinyatsobva tashaya hanya mudhara akaita sageza mudhara chembera so aritomira zvekutomira but hapana kana munhu anotomborine shungu nazvo kana izvino mazuva ano vamwe akutomutaurira kutoti mudhara anopenga uyu. Asi tiri kuzvitaura everyday kuti nyika iri kubiwa maresources. Vapana hapana zviri kuitika muZimbabwe. Vapana varingoswera vakarara maraini vakasitika. Saka surely what is it chiri kunyatsoda kuti isusu sevanhu semaZimbabwean, what is it that we want and what is going to be the outcome yekumberi? Because kana tine vanhu vasina vision, vasina zvavanoona uyezve vasina kana desire kuti shuwa tida kusvikawo patida kusvika papi, tichazoita sei kana tiri vanhu vegeneration yekuti mafungiro edu hatina kana patinofungidzira kuti zvinhu zvedu zvichifambire. Saka ndinoda kungotaura kuti Geza mudhara anga ari right ende zvaanga ari kuita zvanga zvakanaka, but I think somehow tine dambudziko as our generation. Ameno uncle inini ndiri kurwadziwa kuti hatina vanhu vari kutungamirira, but shuwa tingabva taitwa mbwende here vanhu vachiparadzira nyika yedu. Ndo zvandachida kungedzwa kutaura zvangu. I'm very angry kuti hatina plan, hapana kwatiri kuenda. Tiri kutoratidza kutoti zvese zvinotonge ndombo vakuru vacho hapana, everyone angozviitirawo zvinhu zvake, but nyika iri kuparara. Ndo zvandachida kutaura.
Handizi. Yeah, vakaipa. Thank you very much for that, Mkoma. I appreciate. Right. Padare, zviri sei?
Nditongori bo.
Vakadzokera.
Vandikunzira ichiko dzamaputi.
Vakadzokera.
Few more weeks ndozodzoka. Kusana few more weeks.
Alright, ndinenge. Alright, ndataura nemi kuseri. Ndataura kuseri.
Nditaurire tonzonde.
No problem.
Nditaurire. Aiwa, hapana yakatoipa. Otherwise David.
Hapana bakuri. Ndiri bo. Aimbo mainzana ngema waves.
Ndokuti zvitofambe because hey man. But you know what, Zimbabwe inokudzidzisa chimwe chinhu chinyowani. I have never, you know, we are so sophisticated people, I'm telling you the truth. You know, in Zimbabwe is the first country where I've seen a Mercedes-Benz is not worth a Honda Fit. Kana Honda Fit kakutorira pane munhu ane Benz. That tells you what a resilient. It's a resilient system. It's about survival kumusha. You know, we are just a unique people. Pane masana zvaunonzwa nevanhu panapa kapo. You know, pane masana aunonzwa nevanhu panapa ka ekuti you know, yes, handisi kuramba kuti kune vanhu vari kutambudzika kuzvidheni variko, Yes, I'm sorry. There are many things that needs to improve. Yes, my road here, my major roads are the Boko, but we're not going to Victoria Falls and Chichimama roads, which needs to catch up as the highway systems in Zimbabwe that they have to do. Marogation, there's a lot of development in terms of housing. But chikunetsa ndechekuti macity council haasi kugadzira vanhu maroad and ane mari musambofema kanyeperwa ndavana nemacity council vachikuzoda havana mari kunyepa iwe vanhu vane mari city council ine mari mukwashen. I'm telling you
What we wanna kupi? Where are they getting the money?
Zimbabweans are paying mareti machiko in US dollar. Iwe US dollar riri kuita kunge risina basa rese. I've lived in diaspora for many years, and I want to tell you the truth. Zimbabwe ndonyika yandaona one country isinga respect the US dollar. It's just there. It is there. Value inini yemari kwandiri ka boss tenda iwana tichishanda nemashift tichitaseka nemunhu ari kuwana mari kuZimbabwe it's totally different. Totally different. In terms of kuti commodities kuwanika kuita sei, hakuna chinhu chinoshaika muZimbabwe izvezvi. Hakuna kunyepa. Are they cheap? Yes. Are they affordable? Yes. The only thing that we probably need to do, I think the biggest thing that I've said to people is, we have been taught how to fight in terms of protest yekuda kuchinja government, but no one has really taught Zimbabweans how to protest in order to hold people to account. Absolutely no one. We all know that toda kubvisa government, toda kubvisa hurumende, toda kubvisa president, toda kubvisa. There is absolutely no one who's got the art to actually protest for the right things that matter to the daily living yevanhu mukwashi. Kuti vanhu tingoziva ndizo, okay, we want the hospitals to work better. How do we protest to make the hospital work better? We have to know marodhi edu marokeshen ashande zvakanaka. How do we? But do you know what? We are so good to the danger of our own selves, because we find solutions where we are not supposed to find solutions as a people. It's just madness. It's madness how we've been resilient to the point of self-destruction and letting people, let me tell you this, letting people steal from us who are not supposed to steal from us. Letting people get away with things that are not supposed to get away with, because isusu people on the ground who are supposed to receive the services, we do not know how to fight but just call a fight to remove the president. It's just mad. It's just mad. There's absolutely no one who would tell you this. Toda kuti marodhi edu agadzirwe, toda kuti chikafu chedu chidai so, toda kuti tiite marobots. No one knows how to fight that. Vashande kuti vawane mari yakawanda. No one knows how to fight that. No, absolutely no one. The only thing that you hear is let's fight to change the government. And it just baffles me. How did we miss this activism process of holding a government to account, of holding those people in power to account? Where did it all go? Where did it all go?
Sakai,
Listen,
okay, give me one example of what people are supposed to do in terms of this activism, because in the past week or two, I've seen university lecturers demonstrating, but they've been met with brutal force. I've seen students joining in the demonstration, but they've been met with arrest and other force to stop them from doing that. Because from what you're saying, I want to believe that is one example of what trying to hold this government into account is all about. Because there is a targeted action. There's a targeted action there that is university lecturers authorities. So the money that we are getting is not enough. We need more money. And then they've been supported by the students who are saying that we are standing in solidarity with our lecturers. And then if it is poor service delivery, we have Harare residents demonstrating, marching to townhouse and seek an audience with the mayor and raise, their concerns. Are these the ways that you're talking about?
Yes, the historical. You see, this is the thing. The laws, right? Because we've been because we created an abnormal situation of targeting to just remove SANU-PF, right? So when these people that are in the forefront of all this, whether it's donor funds, whether it's the hungry to see SANU-PF go, the government also digs in. There are laws, laws are Zimbabwe, which are really, to be fair, because they are using the law that is there. Because of the way we abnormalize the situation, this is just about this. This is just about this. So the whole concept of civic activism has died in Zimbabwe. And it pains me so much. You know what? I traveled to, for instance, I'll tell you now, Country Park, right? The first Country Park where Mtuli has done the road and so forth is fine. As you enter Country Park, the first old Country Park is fine. As you go further into Country Park,
The new one.
it's like the new one. It's like you are in a dark world. I went at 7 o'clock though. It was cloud of smoke. It was crazy. You know what? I said to myself, it reminded me of my time traveling, Gunana, Spokane, Gunana, South Africa, in these areas. And I said to myself, this is not smelling right. This is not Zimbabwe. I've seen this in Zambia. I've seen this up north in Africa. Zimbabwe has never experienced this. You are in such a dark world. The place is quiet, it's dead. And you've got smelly woodsy and so forth. I said to myself, why? It is because us as a people have stopped fighting the right fight in terms of bringing the changes we seek. And I'm telling you, if you spend time, I will challenge anyone who's sitting here to go at the city council, whether it's Bulawayo or Harare. See the volume of people who are entering, paying money into these institutions. You'll be shocked. Once got Havana Mari. The university one, you're talking about the university protests and so forth. There is a historical narrative and historical fight. Maybe it's opposition. So you know what? The university makes so much money. University of Zimbabwe makes so much money. Forget about the government. The university itself is selling a product of education. It makes so much money. Just imagine how many students are being educated at the University of Zimbabwe, paying the fees that they are paying. They can afford to pay for these lecturers. But the way we really fight to say, how can our government understand? How can our people understand? How can the laws of our land make these institutions be, to honor the people who are actually teaching there? Because if they are not being paid well, corruption ends. Corruption created. There's a lot of fraudulent things that will happen with student manipulation of results and so forth and things. And the product that comes from this institution dies. It becomes a theoretical position. Hakuna kana an institution which is funding. Because university education is supposed to be sold. People are supposed to go there and lecture, attract a business. But it's a production of people, of students who are just being produced to go abroad or to go somewhere else. But they're paying a lot of money.
This is an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem, right? It's an ecosystem.
Before we go to the ecosystem, you and I should agree with it. People buy education.
No,
education is not
but what I'm saying is, it's an ecosystem. If there's an illness in the ecosystem, then it becomes problematic. I also function in the way that it is supposed to be functioning.
This is, to me right now, I'm telling you that in my honest God's truth. This is I think the longest time I've spent home what is not working, what is not. We do not know how to fight for the change we are seeking, because the whole thing is become so abnormal. The moment you open your mouth, Kutizo, why is sewage coming through my tape? The first thing that a person would think is, we need to remove the president. We need to remove. Before we even do anything, we are saying, you know what? I reflect on Zeti and Masi so much. So much in the way they, of course, Zeti is a young man. Sometimes because he's got a soldier in his head. But the things that these two people have become into these spaces to educate people on how to fight, if taken really on board, if it's implemented throughout Zimbabwe, besides the change of government that they are seeking, is my election. But in the way of civic education, I am telling you, Mkwashi, people will change. We have to change the mindset of the people that we are dealing with. We have to change the way we believe and the way we see ourselves. People varikuzviitira life yavo, vanhu vari kugara life yavo, vanhu private schools are kugara, they are oversubscribed. Everything is working in a manner, but it's not working in the way that some people are saying it's not working, because people see differently. But what I'm seeing myself, even the Naenda Bagwabalanda primary school, the school is full. Everything is due. The industry that is there in Zimbabwe right now, there are big industries. There are these big manufacturing, China and all these things. But Isusu, we are missing the mark now. Isusu, this two times raw manufacturing simple. There is mafuta, things like mafuta in Zimbabwe. Importation of mafuta is stopped. Cooking oil is manufactured in Zimbabwe. If you go to Pick and Pay right now, you will find a handful of products that are foreign in that shop. I will promise you that. Because people are going into that space and doing it. But what is missing is the employability. What we need for Zimbabwe to really say is, I'm praying with you, as many people can be employed, even at the minimum wage. So 3 people from a household are employed and making a living. If we get people to do that, I'm sure some of these pains that we are feeling might go. But this is where people want to demand big salaries, personal production.
But who's supposed to be creating that environment, though? Because you and I. No, but okay. The buck stops with who?
This is the thing. I think that's my last submission, Sunday. People can ask me whatever they want. This is my own experience. I'm experiencing in Zimbabwe, and no one can take away that from me. I'm just going to
because what I'm liking about you. What I'm liking about this. What I'm liking about this. I'm liking that you're experiencing this. I'm liking that you are seeing this firsthand. I'm liking that you're identifying that there's a problem here, there's a problem there, there's a problem there, there's a problem there, there's a problem there. But where I am finding it difficult to reconcile with your position is you seem to be apportioning the blame to where it is not supposed to be apportioned to.
No, but listen, I've said this. Listen to this. If you give a people the excuse to manipulate you and accept the abnormal, listen, and this is a fact. If I was to be given an audience to speak to the president right now, I would tell him and say, look at the directors of all these companies, right? They all have brand new cars. They all have these 4x4s. I would want to know how they are actually having these cars versus the production of what I'm seeing, or the outcomes on the floor, shop floor, hospitals. It'd be crazy for anyone to challenge me about hospital functioning. Someone who worked for 24 years in a defense medical service. It's mad for you to ask me what how is it a hospital is supposed to work. I can set up a hospital in the middle of the desert and make it work. For goodness sake, I can do that. I can do that. So for things like that, we know how these things are supposed to be working. All these doctors are Tano. Hakuna munhu ane mari sadoctor ari muZimbabwe. Usazombofa wakanyeperwa anyone. But how is it that they go to this place which is not functioning and they will go to a private hospital that is functioning? It baffles me. Where is the mark there? How come private hospital, government institution zikuramba kushanda, but outside everything is functioning zvitoripo? Izvezvi zvitoripo mu private sector, whether it's dental, whether it's pharmacy, whether it's anything. There are 24-hour pharmacies in Bulawayo, in Harare, where these things are functioning. They are there under periods. But ukaenda mu hospital yavari kushanda during the day, it's not working properly. Why is that so? There must be something within that institution that is not working well. There must be somewhere where incompetence and accountability is lacking, where the government has to look back and say, and that's my honest truth. That is my honest truth. I want to ZITF. Sano, me, listen, there are more new cars. There were more new cars in ZITF than the people who were walking around.
Right.
It tells you that something is not right. Something is not right in where the money is, the space where the money is. Where the space. So that way, somehow, people in government needs to look into it. People in the private sector, private sector it's not just about government, remember. It is also the private sector that provides services to the vulnerable people that are on the ground. It's not just government that's making money. But when I think it's economic, I don't go to government. The private sector has been let off so big, and you can make crazy money in Zimbabwe. Right now, you can make so much stupid money if you are just because you are providing a service and people will buy into that service. You look everywhere, there's a KFC. You look everywhere, there's a Nando's. Every 10 there's a filling station.
Can we say there's now an ideological shift in Zimbabwe, which is totally divorced from what we grew up on or we were accustomed to?
Thank you. Totally different.
But now, but now, isn't it now the role of the government to step in and put in safeguards to make sure that the environment does not work for the benefit? Because if you're talking about the private, you are now talking about the few. So isn't it the government? Isn't it the role of the government to step in? We know the government can regulate. We know the government can pass laws. We know the government can put in policies. We know the government can put in safety nets or to safeguard the majority of the Zimbabweans who are at the receiving end of whatever environment that is now being created. And this is where I want to believe that the government is letting people down, and they are supposed to be the guardian. They are supposed to be the protector. They are supposed to be the institution that looks out for the most vulnerable in the society. And our Zimbabwean folks, those who are vulnerable, they are being hard done by because there's nothing that is coming from the government in terms of looking out for these people.
You're right, and you're right in very many ways, in a very greater way. Because at the end of the day, who's the corporate parent? The corporate parent is the government, isn't it? But the government shifting policies also. Because remember, Zimbabwe was stagnant for a long time. So their mission was to establish a system that would work. You introduce all this normalcy and so forth. But that normalcy manje kushiftika, invite to set up this business. So the money that is in the private space is quite huge. It's huge money in the private space. And that private space is in paying. This is where you need. I'm telling you, muzimbabwe mune mari, but mari haizi kubhengi, haizi kupi, iri mudzimba. Remember, there are also people right now, I will tell you, who have opened my private security homes. These are bankers. We have to get all those. There has to be these abnormalities. Push out. Right. Because remember, the role of the government is to provide a fairer system. We can never be equal. It'd be stupid.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. A fairer system, yes.
What a fairer system that kuti munhu akatizo nhasi ari kuenda onoshanda oona mari yake otenga chikafu haachanetsana mabills between zig between US dollar and all these things. If they keep moving those things in the manner that they should be, there has to be a balance of that. But what for me, what needs to happen is the role of the government educating its people according to what they believe in, but the civic space needs to educate people. It's not just about just the change of government. There's time for war, there's time for killing, there's time for building, there's time for making babies, there's time for everything. The time that we're supposed to be making our people more robust to understand how government works and who we should hold to account should also be the biggest part of the fight. Yes, you want to change the government, but you should also fight to question that person who's supposed to provide that service to you. I think if we get that balance right, Sanoka, look, your mission of changing ZANU-PF is up to you. ZANU-PF is not going anywhere. ZANU-PF has evolved. Let me tell you, ZANU-PF has evolved, people, and I'm saying it loud enough. So Geza from beginning before I even went home. Geza, there is dying. When change management is happening, there are people wanting to go ZANU-PF has got new faces, has got a new energy, and it's vibrant. And ZANU-PF is moved on. And when I said, remember, the biggest mistake that the people wanted to use the general's name 3 years before the government, before ZANU-PF goes to a congress, Matubato Irasa.